Will you be the coach?
I plan on it, you know. As I said, I'm very, very happy here. I'm happy with what we've built. I have a great president, a great administration. You look at our fan base that we have here, and look at the program that we've built. I think is pretty special. So, you know, I'm fortunate to be the head coach, and you know, John and Dr. Keenum have both, you know, told me they want me to continue to be the head coach here.
Well, that was Dan Mullen after the Egg Bowl on his future at Mississippi State. Thanks so much for joining me on this edition of Overtime. I'm Jordan Black. As of today, his future will now be at the University of Florida. After 9 years in Starkville, Dan Mullen has taken the head coaching job for the Gators, where he was once the offensive coordinator, actually right before this MSU term. Now, during Florida's national championship runs in 2006 and 2008. Mullen will also reunite with former MSU athletic director Scott Strickland. Mullen took MSU through its most successful football tenure, the Bulldogs 69-46 during his era. With 8 straight bowl berths and 5 bowl wins, Mullen leaves Starkville just 6 wins shy of tying Jackie Sherrill's all-time mark for most career wins at the school. He produced 3 seasons of at least 9 wins in the last 7 years and was the longest tenured SEC coach behind Nick Saban. Earlier today, Mississippi State President Mark Keenum releasing this statement, saying in part that the university has enjoyed unprecedented success with Dan Mullen and that MSU wishes him nothing but the best. He states that the university has already begun the process of a transition to new and exciting leadership for the football program. He goes on to say running backs coach and special teams coordinator Greg Knox will serve as the interim head coach and will coach the bowl game. Florida will officially introduce Mullen tomorrow at 3, and we'll talk much more about potential hires in Starkville later on Overtime. Now, with one Mississippi coach out, another is in. Ole Miss announcing today that Matt Luke will officially be named head coach for the Rebels. With Oxford ties dating back 3 generations, Luke grew up a Rebel. He played center for the Rebs in the late 90s and has coached at Ole Miss for 10 years. Luke named interim head coach in July after the resignation of Hugh Freeze and led the squad to a 6-6 season, closing out the year with a 31-28 upset over Mississippi State. Here's Luke that night after the Egg Bowl.
Do you believe this strengthens your position for the permanent job?
I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to enjoy this night and enjoy these players, and you know, I don't have any regrets. I'm grateful for this opportunity. It's a dream of mine, and just thankful to have the opportunity.
That dream now a reality. Ole Miss will officially introduce Luke tomorrow at 11:30. So this seems like as good a time as any to go back to a recent game between these two. You might know it, the Egg Bowl. And you know what they say, anything can happen in a rivalry game. In Thursday night's rivalry showdown, it turned out to be the underdogs knocking off the 16-point favorite Bulldogs 31-28. Things were pretty chippy before the game, but they got downright scary during it. And if you're squeamish like me, don't look at this. Opening quarter, MSU quarterback Nick Fitzgerald, the heart and soul of the team, many would say, goes down with a gruesome ankle injury, taking the air out of the Bulldogs. While the Rebs, they just went to the air. Jordan Ta'amu tossing a pair of second-half bombs for scores, while the Land Sharks forced 5 turnovers to help hold off a late MSU rally. A pretty cool feeling for official head coach Matt Luke, knowing the Egg is going back to Oxford.
Hard pressed to think we didn't win the game unless you look at the the turnovers and the explosive plays, and so I think that was the difference.
We were really excited about this win. We had to get the Egg Bowl back. So,
but man, what a great time for them to come on the road in the biggest game of the year, in the Egg Bowl. 5 turnovers, man, you gotta love it.
I think you could tell our kids wanted it, man. They were excited about this opportunity, and they wanted to represent the University of Mississippi the right way.
The Rebs end their season at 6-6, as mentioned, while the bowl-bound Bulldogs dropped to 8-4. That late season rivalry loss dropped the Bulldogs to 24th in the AP and coaches poll, the latest rankings coming out today. MSU stood at 16 in the latest college football playoff rankings, with the next ones coming out Tuesday. One quick note, after Thursday, Nick Fitzgerald did undergo successful ankle surgery Friday, and this weekend tweeted, "I am truly overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and prayers sent my way the past 36 hours. He goes on to promise that he will be back stronger and better than ever. It's only up from here. Plus, the Thanksgiving weekend recap continues in the Division II playoffs all season long. Delta State prided itself on being a comeback team, with head coach Todd Cooley saying his guys would scrap and fight until the end. Yesterday, his Statesmen did just that against GSC rival and top seed West Alabama in the Super Region semifinal. So let's head out to Livingston, Alabama. DSU coming in looking to avenge their regular season loss to the Tigers, and UWA coming off a first-round bye. What a start, first quarter. Statesmen put together this drive, which was capped off by the Breck Reddick 4-yard TD. DSU striking first to go up 7-0. Second possession for the Statesmen. Cam Myers around the end picks up 12 yards for the first down. And that drive would be followed by this Ladarian Peterson 25-yard scamper up the middle. That would lead to a field goal to give the green and white a 10-0 lead. However, the Tigers come back and reel off 27 unanswered points ignited by that Harry Satterwhite strike to Dante Armstrong for 6. But here come the Statesmen down 27-10 late in the third. Chris Robinson goes off tackle for the score. DSU added a field goal in the fourth to cut the lead down to 7. But in the closing minutes, the Tigers iced this thing out with a tough running that guy like Kendrick Thomas. And that would be the ball game, the final 27-20. Delta State season ending in Livingston.
Play with a chip on their shoulder. They just keep playing. This football team is very special. We don't worry about the situation. You know, we do some crazy stuff sometimes, and it drives me crazy. But they keep playing, and they play those zeros on the clock like they did today. So I was very, very pleased with them.
A great run for Delta State, no doubt, ending the season with a 9-4 record. However, a winning season doesn't go unnoticed for the Statesmen, especially for one player who's taken the green and white by storm. Chris Robinson announced a 2 prestigious award nomination lists earlier this week. For the second straight year, the Gulf Coast transfer named a Connerly finalist, the state's top college football honor. The Boone native also named one of 34 finalists for the Harlan Hill Trophy, that award given to the top D2 college football player in the country. Robinson has racked up 37 career rushing touchdowns, 44 total, and is 8th on the career rushing list at Delta State. Here's a look at those other Connerly finalists, some of them from Valley DB Mark Peggs, Bulldogs QB Nick Fitzgerald, Ole Miss wide receiver A.J. Brown, and Southern Miss's Ito Smith. You can see the full list and cast your vote online at csopavoting.com. Plus, this week not only meant rivalry games, but also prime time for coaches on the hot seat. As you can likely tell, time running out for many and others running to the next big thing. For Mississippi Valley head coach Rick Comegy, time running out on Monday. The university announcing earlier this week that it would not renew his contract. Comegy spent 4 years roaming the Valley sidelines, winning only 6 games against 38 losses, which included a 4-30 record in the SWAC. He also won no more than 2 games in each of 4 seasons at Valley. Last weekend, he coached his final game after his Delta Devils closed out their season to Alabama State with a loss, ending the year with a 4-game losing streak. Now, back in 2012, Comegy was hired from Jackson State after guiding the Tigers to 6 SWAC East titles and a conference championship win in 2007, but the success he had with the Tigers didn't carry over to Valley. And lots of college football, but it looks like it isn't winding down anytime soon. However, we are, just for one quick second for a water break. Don't go anywhere. NFL highlights and scores coming up after this.